Hello and welcome to a beautiful Bridge View Fishery. Just in the Staffordshire countryside, absolutely beautiful venue right next to the River Trent. Absolutely stunning. I've never been here before, so this is a new one for me. Today, it's going to be all about a perfect pleasure session. If you want to come and do a pleasure session on a venue like this, like I said, I've never seen the venue before, so it's going to be a little bit of trial and error for us today. Simple tactics. I've got a line down in the deep water on the bottom, feeding a bit of ground bait, a few worms and some casters. I've also got a shallow maggot line. So I think the best thing to do now is pop some maggots on, get in that deep line and have a go. I have plumbed up down the edge for later on, but I don't really think we're going to catch on that until the last hour, 2 hours maybe. So what we're going to do now, I've got my deep rig, get on that deep line and have a quick go. So like I said before, I've never fished this venue, and I've had a little bit of info from the bailiff, John, and he's told me that there's, oh look at that straight away, oh it's just come off that one, and he's told me that it's mainly F1s with some decent size eyed and some skimmers and silverfish. So my approach is basically to go down everything that swims. You know, I don't want to be selective, I don't want to just feed pellets because, you know, oh there you go, straight away. You know, I don't want to give myself, oh it's come off as well. Just being a little bit funny at the moment. I've got a scale on there. So I don't want to be too selective and go down the pellet route because I've never fished the venue before. I don't want to be really selective, I'd rather edge my bets a little bit, fish to my strengths, and catch everything that swims. So all we're doing is, it's about 4.5 foot deep, got a 0.4 rig on, 0.16 main line, 0.12 5 bottom, nice 0.12 MVR hook length mono, nice and light to a 16 hook, catch everything that swims. And all we've done is introduce a decent sized ball at the start of ground bait, a few worms in it, a few casters, a few dead maggots, and I'm literally just going to see what happens over that line. I'm not going mad, as I say. Oh, there's one. Oh, it's just come off again. We're being a bit silly at the moment. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to check that hook again. That's okay. Just going to start in. So all I've got in my tub here is the same mix. I'm going to put a little tiny ball in just to see if I can get them congregated in one little place. I just feel like they're a bit scatty at the moment. Don't get me wrong, we've only just started. I've had a few chucks and had a few fish, but we've literally been fishing for about half an hour, so it's still, you know, I'll just put that ball in there and just keep feeding my shallow line with maggots. I haven't actually looked on my shallow line yet, but I can see fish boiling on the surface. There you go, that's better. That's better, straight away. So again, just don't know what it's going to be. Just like I say, everything that swims this rig is. So a nice little, look at that, a little carp. Look, little stocky carp. Nice little stocky carp that they've put in. So yeah, like I say, I've never been to this venue before. Stunning venue, to be fair, in the countryside. It's just nice to be on the bank and catch a few fish. And just put in 3 dead maggots on to start with. 3 red dead maggots. Let's get back out there and give it another go. So as well, what we need to do is, we always need to think about feeding this shallow line. So even though I'm not fishing it at the moment, just need to keep feed going in there regularly just to keep fish in the area, keep them feeding. And then when you look to go on it, there'll hopefully be a few fish there waiting for you. small fish in my peg now. Another small little stocky carp. I'll swing him, he's only little. Little stocky F1, that one. So all we're doing is I'm just literally looking and seeing what's happening in the peg. At the moment there's a few small fish there, but I'm not too worried. I'm still putting weight in my net. And like I say, this rig is all about catching everything that swims. It's not selective. I'm not just going in there with a hard pellet on and trying to catch carp. I'm trying to catch everything that swims in the lake, which is something that I love doing on all the venues that I go to. There's another little fish. Like I say, just keep these little fish coming. It doesn't matter. Nice day's sport. Little F1 that time. So like I say, we're literally just seeing what's in the peg, catching fish. Doesn't matter if it's 2 ounces, 3 ounces, they're all welcome. So if you're on a pleasure session, you know, we're catching a few fish, it's really good. I'm enjoying myself, which is what it's all about. And yeah, we just keep going and just keep trying to put a few fish in the net, which is what it's all about. Oh, so many fish on that shallow line. I'm going to have a look on that in a minute. So now I've just had that little fish, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start upping the feed a little bit. I feel that these little fish are coming in, feeding quite aggressively. And I feel like I need to just keep that bait going in just to try and see if I can get a few better fish in my peg. Just feed them maggots. Like I say, that shallow line, I think is going to be the one today. It's nice and bright. Oh, I just missed a nice little bite there. It's nice and bright, low pressure. I think we're going to be able to catch quite a few fish shallow. So, ooh, another little nice, tiny little dip there. We've only been fishing for, like I say, half an hour, 40 minutes, but already it's, there you go, that's a slightly better fish. So just introducing that ball of ground bait then, just made that fish go down. That could be my first eyed, maybe, possibly. There is some, oh it is, there's some big eyed in this lake. So John the bailiff was telling me they go into 3-4 pound in some of the lakes, so they're absolutely massive. That's a nice eyed. So again, like I say, this is the reason why I'm fishing like the way I am. You know, that's a really nice eyed there. So again, you don't edge your bets. Fish for everything that swims, and you'll have a great day's fishing. So we've just hooked something a little bit bigger there. Take my time and just trying, that could be a massive F1 that. So there is, talking to the fishery owners and bailiff, there is some massive F1s in here. So we're just going to take our time and see if we can get this in. And I think it's going to be a good time then to run through my rigs, bait prep, everything to make you have a really good day's fishing. Yeah, nice little F1 look. So straight away, the video I did before, the little at the start, you know, it shows we had a few little F1s, then we had a decent eyed. Now we've caught this F1. It shows the variety of fish by fishing this way. You know, sometimes you can be a little bit, oh look at him, that's a nice fish. Sometimes you can be a little bit too selective and forget about fish, and you're not fishing to your strengths, and you're not, oh, look at him, he's lovely, he is. Lovely little pristine F1 look. Oh, it's beautiful. Let's get him back. So yeah, just fishing the way I am, that just nails it now. You know, we're just fishing for everything that swims. And again, it's all about prepping your lines, fishing for everything that swims, silverfish, F1s, carp. You know, you can get massive carping on this gear. So while I've got the rig out the water, let's talk about the rig in more detail. So first of all, top kit. so I'm using a power light kit. I've got a 10 to 12 X-Core elastic in. My float of choice, I've got an MVR Series 2 float. It's a wire stem with a 1.7mm bristle, a bulk of number 10s, and then a number 10 dropper on top of my loop-to-loop, 012 MVR hook length mono to a size 16 hook. Very, very simple, really balanced gear, which is the most important thing. Your rig has to be balanced when you're fishing like this. Nice balanced gear, and more importantly, it's going to get anything out that swims, which is what I look for. So now we've just had that one, what I'm going to do is briefly give you a little bit of a little tip. Fishing for about 45 minutes to an hour, and it was noticeable that we was getting, oh, he's a bit lively this one, like some really small fish in my peg. Like, oh, look at him, he's massive F1 he is. Let's try and hold him up. Oh, steady. Look at him, he's a beautiful fish he is. So what we noticed really quickly was, if I wasn't feeding, I was getting smaller fish in my peg. So what we've done is, I've just rebait this hook and I'll show you exactly what we're doing. So we're going on with three maggots, 3 dead maggots, exactly the same as before. Not selective, just trying to catch everything that swims. 3 dead maggots on a 16. And what we're doing is, in this little tub here, I've got a mix, my original mix, and I'm just making a little ball with some worms and casters and a little soggy ball, and all I'm doing is putting it in my cup and just pressing it down a little bit. And I think what that's doing is, the bigger fish are off the bottom a little bit, and it's just dragging them down to feed. So let's just try and see if we can put that into motion. It's definitely 100% working today. It's definitely a lot better when I'm doing this. So I'm just going to tap that in. That's that ball in. Lift my rig. Make everything straight. And we mustn't forget to feed this shallow line still. Just keep feeding a bit of bait on that shallow line. It's been noticeable when I'm feeding that little ball, it's definitely bringing bigger fish into the peg. Ooh, just a little touch then. So we just put that ball in. It's definitely seems to be a lot better for these bigger fish. Oh, just bump one then. Ooh, so many fish in the peg at the moment. There we go. That's a small fish again. So I think what we're going to do now is, now I've caught that small fish, I don't think we've got enough bait in the peg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refeed with a decent sized ball, a ground bait, a proper ball, a big ball, and then we're going to have a quick look shallow because I'm itching to go on it, to be honest. So catch up with me back in a minute and we're going to get shallow. Right, we've just introduced the ball on that deep line because it was going a little bit iffy. So I've just introduced the ball, I'm going to leave it 15 minutes and it's perfect now to talk about the ground bait I'm using. So this is mainline match, green supreme, F1 dark and F1 sweet in equal quantities. So then what I do to that is, I have a little tub separate in my little tub system here. And all I do is I put some casters, some worms, introduce that into like a, this is really over wetted now, so it's really over wetted, and then all I can do then is just make a little ball and break down really slowly. And what I'm looking for is the fish to come in and nose the ground bait to break it up. I don't actually want the ground bait to break up, I want them to come in and actually physically get to that bait. So there's the ground bait in a little bit more detail. As I say, I'm going to leave that for 15 minutes and I'm going to have a quick look shallow. I can't wait because they're absolutely swarming on it. Oh, there's one straight away. So we're just literally feeding a few maggots. We've got one on straight away. So all we're doing is a nice, really light on the drop rig. I reckon that's a big hide again. If that's an hide, that's a massive hide. So basically all we're doing is we're fishing a really nice, strung out, that's an hide again. Look at the size of these things. I've never caught a hide like this in my life. Look at the size of him. Woo-hoo. That's a big old hide, that is. That's phenomenal fish, that is. Look at the size of that. That's a beautiful fish, that. Oh, gobsmacked. Beautiful fish. Oh, that's probably the biggest hide I've ever caught. That's beautiful. So, what we're doing now, catching these fish shallow, is I'm introducing maggots all the time, and it's a little bit different to the norm now, where a lot of people are fishing overshotted rigs, tapping the water, lifting and dropping a lot. With this, there's none of that. So I'll just quickly run through everything. One piece power kit with a smoke, 8 to 11 dual core. I love this elastic. F1s, these big eyed carp will get everything in on this. 016 mainline. I always use 016 mainline when I'm targeting F1s, silvers this time of year. I think it's perfect. Now the float choice is an MVR Finesse 5 in a 0.15 of a gram. 016 mainline, number 11 droppers, 5-inch hook link, 012 5 again, 012 MVR hook length to a size 16 hook. Really simple. 2 maggots, and I think what we're going to do now is I'm going to put all that into play and show you exactly how to do this shallow. So I've baited my hook up, and I'm going to talk you now through the process of fishing shallow like this. Now with maggots, because it's such a slow falling bait, what I'm trying to achieve is I'm trying to achieve a constant column of maggots going through the water. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to ship out, I've fed, I'm going to turn my rig over and keep a tight line to my float. Now what that's going to do, if I have a bite on the drop, oh I missed that one, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep a nice tight line between my float and my tip. Oh, and there's a small fish there. Keep a nice tight line, keep feeding them maggots, and there you go, straight away. So that seems to be a better stamp fish. That could be a big F1, that. So again, just take your time. So like you've seen then, I kept a nice tight line between my float and my tip. The benefits of fishing the way I am is I'm not necessarily fishing in one depth. If I've got just a bulker shot above a hook link, I'm only fishing in one depth of water. Whereas this, I'm fishing through the water, which means I'm covering a lot more depth. So for fish like Ide and F1s, where you physically have to search the water sometimes, it's slightly better. Oh, that's a nice F1, that is. Oh, he's going for it. Ooh. God, they fight fit in here. Oh, they're pulling like carp today. So again, just take your time, nice and easy, don't rush. He's going to be ours in a minute. The worst thing you can do is rush and end up losing a fish that can cost you a decent, you know, cost you a match win or, oh, look at him. Oh, that's a big F1, that is. Oh, yes, that's a beautiful F1. So just by doing that the way I've done it, I'm not targeting, you know, look at the size of that. That's a massive F1. It's got to be best part of £3 again. So again, just by fishing the way I am, again, I'm not being selective. I'm not fishing an overshotted rig, fishing nice and delicately through the water, which means I'm going to catch a variety of species. I can catch roach, Ide, everything that swims. I'm not targeting the F1s by fishing overshotted rigs. I don't want them to rip the elastic out. This way of fishing is all about filling your net with everything that swims, and you're going to have a really good day's fishing. And it's a lot easier to fish this way because you can fish with one rig, does everything. You don't have to have 10 or 12 shallow rigs set up. You can literally fish this way for the whole of your session, and you can just keep fish coming all day. And that's what it's all about. And there you go again, straight away, bang. So as you can see, that float's just going through the water. Keep a nice tight line, just lift into it, and there's a fish on. So just nice and gently, take your time. There's that many fish there, it's absolutely ridiculous. Get it back to your top kit. One strip. He's a bit bigger than me. I might have to do two strips on this one. So again, take your time, don't rush it. They're big old F1s in here. Oh, look at the size of that. That's even bigger. Oh, that's a big F1. Oof. Oh, that's a beautiful F1, that is. So just by doing what I'm doing, the process that I'm doing, you can see, that's just I'm going to have to hold that one up. That's an absolute joke of a fish, that is. That's probably getting on for £4, that one. Look at the size of him. He's a beauty, he is. So yeah, just by doing what we're doing, you can catch massive F1s like that. And if I was fishing an overshotted rig, you know, I might catch these F1s and, you know, get really good with these F1s and have a really good day's fishing. You're also missing out on other fish like Ide, roach, you know, other fish. So by fishing the way I am through the water, again, I'm not targeting specific species of fish, I'm targeting everything that swims. So hopefully, though, that couple of minutes there where we've just filmed, you can see the process of fishing shallow and you can see what we're doing. I'm going to carry on because I'm absolutely loving this. We've given that shallow line 15-20 minutes. So what I'm going to do now, after introducing that ball on that deep line, I'm just going to go and have a quick look. There might not be anything there because of the time of day. They might be on my shallow line because we've caught a load shallow. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to have a quick look just to see if there's anything gone over that ball that we've fed. because I want to try and keep 2 lines going all the time. So again, we'll just drop in there, we'll have a quick look. I think I'll have a quick 5 minutes. There's definitely fish there, but I think because of the time of day and how we're feeding that shallow line, they've moved onto that shallow line. Oh, there you go, and it's a small fish. So what's happened there is because we've left it, the fish have fed a little tiny stocky carp, look. The fish have cleared out what's there, and I think we're going to have to go back to what we was doing before. Regular little feeds, keep the bait going in to keep the bigger fish in your peg for longer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to introduce the little ball like we did before, the same stodgy mix, get that into my pot. I'm going to repeat the process. The only other thing I am going to do in a minute is I'm going to feed that edge just to have a quick look, see if we can get a bigger fish, so a carp or a bigger F1. So there you go, that's that ball in. Now remember before when we was doing this, what was happening was we was feeding that little ball, going in on top, and we was getting a better stamp fish. So let's see if we can do the same now. And there we go, that's a better stamp fish. So that's perfect. What we've done there tells us that the fish want bait. So them bigger fish just sat off it. You put that little bit of ball in just to regroup them with that trap, and it brings them better stamp fish in. So again, we just take our time. Just trap it there and just remember to keep feeding them maggots on my shallow line. Looks like another nice F1. Oh yeah, it's a massive F1. Oh, that's a big F1 that is. So that's perfect, that is how that demonstrated there. We had that small fish, put that little trap in, it's gone down and it's had it. So there's a nice little tip there for you. Look at the size of him. He's a big old warrior. Real nice stamp F1. And all we've done is just put that little tiny nugget of ground bait in. He's gone down, he's took the hook bait, so that's perfect. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just literally just going to have 5-10 minutes down the edge. I fed it about 10 minutes ago. And we're just going to see if there's anything down there. So obviously I'm just literally imitating what I would do in a match. So I fished that deep line to start with. Oh, just missed a bite then. I fished that deep line to start with. That was good. You know, we had an initial good start on that while we was feeding our shallow line. And then we're going to come. Oh, there's a lot of fish there now. We've gone on our shallow line. That's been really good. And now hopefully we can finish down the edge and catch some decent fish. Only going to give it 5-10 minutes, just see if we can get a decent fish. As you can see, I'm right in the bank. The margins are quite deep here, to be fair. A lot deeper than what I would normally look for, but just got to give it a quick go. This would be a normal sort of session. Start out in the lake on the bottom while you're priming your shallow line, and then finish off later on down the edge. Just going to reset that a little bit. There you go, that's better. Oh, just pricked one there. It's a little bit of a nightmare because it's all overgrown. It could do with going in and cutting it all back really, but for the purpose of the video I don't need to do that. And there's some fish there. If it was like this in a match, I would just come off it straight away because it's not good. I'd probably refeed it again and then go back on my shallow line, but just going to see if we can get one down the edge just to finish off with. So we've just hooked one down the edge. It's going to be a perfect time to do a little bit of a summary of how today's gone. So we started on that long line on the deck, feeding the little balls of ground bait with the worms and the casters. This could be a tench, this, with the worms and the casters in. That was a really good start. We've had some F1s, some eyed, all different species of fish on that. Yeah, little tench, look, lovely. So yeah, we've kept fish coming. Look at that, beautiful little tench. So we've kept fish coming, rotated our lines, and it was apparent that that deck line, if we didn't feed enough bait, we'd get a small fish. So we upped the feed rate, putting little balls in through a toss pot, and that was brilliant. For a good hour, we was catching decent stamp F1s, the odd eyed on it, and then the odd tench on it. So a really mixed bag of fish. Whilst I was fishing that, we fed the shallow line. That was really good for an hour and a half. We've had a really good spell catching some really big F1s and some really big eyed. On the drop rig, through the water, has been really good. Then the last hour, we've gone down the edge where we've had a few F1s, lost a couple of decent carp unfortunately, but you always do lose them with the snags and things like that. So keep it nice and simple, keep everything easy, rotate your 3 lines that I've showed you today, and you won't go too far wrong. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you again.